When you begin using table calculations, you may see an option in one of the table calculation dialog boxes that you find interesting. So I've got a sales by subcategory chart here. I'm going to convert this sum of sales to a table calculation, in particular using the full Add Table Calculation dialog box. Depending on the type of calculation I use, for example, maybe a percent of total, or how about a running total, I might have an option at the bottom of the dialog box to add secondary calculation. And if I check that, it actually expands the table calculation dialog box and lets me do two table calculation. The first over here, and then after it's been done, another table calculation based on the first. This could be interesting. Let me undo my table calculation here. Go back to my measure. We see no more little delta there. I want to talk about a certain type of chart where this can come in kind of handy. Let's go do a little quick Google search on something called the Pareto Chart. The Pareto Chart is designed to show me kind of where I hit 80% of a total. So where do I hit 80% of something? The Pareto Chart is used for doing some quality analysis. If I have, for example, technical support department, where do I hit 80% of my trouble calls? Maybe I can fix those with just those first few things. Let's go back to Tableau and do a Pareto Chart, which is going to require this special kind of table calculation. Sales by subcategory, I'm going to start by sorting in high to low order. And in essence, what I want to know is, when have I hit 80% of my sales? Which of my subcategories takes me past 80% of my total? We're going to do a pretty advanced chart here with an advanced table calculation. I'm going to start by bringing sales on rows a second time, and now I'm going to create a table calculation on that second sales row using the full Add Table Calculation dialog box, beginning with a running total, and then adding a secondary calculation, which is going to be a percent of total. There's my table calculation. Now I'm going to do a shared axis chart by moving my second row to the right axis of my first row to do what we call a dual axis chart. We're going to right-click on our right axis and change that mark type to a line for our percent of running total. Go to our left axis and turn that back into a bar, and we now have a Pareto chart, sales by subcategory, high to low, and the line showing us our percent of running total. I go to my analytics pane now, bring a constant line onto the right axis, make it a 0.8 as kind of my reference for my Pareto of 80%, and we see right about there, copiers has gotten us 80% of our total with our two-pass table calculation. That's a quick look at an advanced table calculation feature. Mighty handy. The Pareto Chart's an example of how to make it work. Try hands-on exercise number 4, table calculations. Give yourself about 15 minutes.